All right, so today we're diving deep, deep into the financial world.
Oh, sounds exciting.
It is. It is. We're dissecting, well, really just one source,
Okay.
a minority mindset YouTube video.
Okay. I've seen those.
Yeah, they break down a Bloomberg report, and this report is all about how BlackRock,
The biggest, yeah.
the world's biggest asset manager,
Huge.
changed their investment approach right after the 2020 election.
Oh, wow. That's
The one with all
well, the drama.
the nail biting and uncertainty.
It was quite a roller coaster, wasn't it?
It was. So what's interesting here is that what BlackRock does often foreshadows where the market might be headed.
Right. It's like they have this
Insider knowledge.
yeah, like a sixth sense almost.
Yeah, yeah. They manage, think about this, trillions of dollars.
Trillions with a T.
Yeah. So what did these financial titans do that's got everyone buzzing?
Well, the first thing is BlackRock, they noticed that the market like surged after the election. And it wasn't because of who won, but just because the uncertainty was finally over.
So just having a decision.
Exactly. The election itself was like this big.
Roadblock.
Yeah, holding everything back.
But how does an election create like a freeze on investments?
So imagine businesses are like chess players, right?
Right.
And when the board's all chaotic, they don't want to make any big moves.
They're hesitant.
Exactly. They're waiting to see how things play out. Even the Bloomberg report had this quote from a BlackRock portfolio manager. He said,
Oh, let's hear it.
"The uncertainty discount embedded in market prices should begin to thaw."
Okay, uncertainty discount, what does that even mean?
So basically, when things are uncertain, investors get all,
Took.
yeah, spooked. Imagine you're going to buy a house, but then you hear there might be a highway built right through it.
Yeah, I back out.
Exactly. You hesitate, and that hesitation, it drives the price down like a discount.
Ah, I get it.
And it's the same thing with the stock market. Businesses were putting off major decisions until after the election.
Right, until things settle down.
Exactly. And BlackRock, they saw this coming. They knew businesses would be more confident once the election was over.
Okay, so they predicted a surge,
Yeah, they knew businesses would start investing, expanding.
leading to growth.
Right. And they made two, like, really specific moves to capitalize on this.
Okay, let's hear it. The YouTube video mentioned something about momentum stocks.
Yeah, so first we got to define what a momentum stock even is.
Okay.
Imagine, like, a small startup, right? Huge potential, like the next big tech thing.
Got it.
They're not making tons of money yet.
But they could.
Exactly. They rely on investments to grow. Those are your momentum stocks, riding that wave of investor enthusiasm.
So instead of sticking with
The safe bets.
yeah, BlackRock went for these potentially explosive but riskier companies.
It's like surfing.
Oh,
When
okay.
the tide's turning, you want to be on the wave that's gaining momentum.
Ride that wave.
Exactly. BlackRock saw that the post-election environment was perfect for these kinds of companies.
Okay, I see the strategy.
With less uncertainty, more investment, those momentum stocks could really boom.
Bold move. But they also made a move away from something,
You're
right?
sharp. You're talking about bonds.
Yeah. The video mentioned bonds.
Yeah, so at the same time they were pouring money into momentum stocks, they started pulling out of bond ETFs.
Wait, but aren't bonds supposed to be like the safe bet?
They are considered safer, yeah.
So why pull back from those?
Well, bonds usually have lower returns, right?
Okay.
It's like choosing between a savings account and,
Risky stock.
yeah. And BlackRock, they were anticipating interest rate cuts. And when rates go down, bond returns shrink.
Making them less appealing.
Exactly. So they shifted gears towards higher growth opportunities.
So they put their money where their mouth is when it comes to this post-election boom.
You could say that, yeah.
But there's one more thing.
Oh, you're talking about Bitcoin.
Yeah, the Bitcoin ETF. It's interesting to me.
It's a fascinating piece of the puzzle, for sure.
So BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, even though it's fairly new,
Yeah, very new.
it now holds more assets than their gold ETF, which has been around for like 20 years.
It's pretty crazy, right? It's sending shockwaves through the financial world.
Yeah, so what's driving that? Are people ditching gold for Bitcoin? Like it's the new gold rush?
It's not quite that simple, but remember that post-election market boom we talked about?
Yeah.
That optimism? It spilled over into the crypto world.
So it all ties together.
Exactly. Bitcoin's price went up.
And some investors are seeing ETFs as a way to get into Bitcoin without,
Without the hassle of owning the actual cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So BlackRock is essentially saying, hey, election's over, uncertainty's down, we're betting on momentum stocks and even Bitcoin to ride this wave of growth.
That's a pretty good summary.
Is that fair?
Yeah, you got it. But before we jump to conclusions about what this all means for us, the regular investors,
The everyday people.
right, I think we need to dig a little deeper into what these moves really mean.
Yeah, good point. So to our listeners, stick with us. We'll be back in a moment to explore all the implications of BlackRock's strategy and how it might impact your own investment decisions.
So before we went off to think about all of this, we were talking about this whole uncertainty discount
Right.
and how it holds back the markets. Makes me wonder if the opposite is true. Like, if uncertainty is down, does that automatically mean more growth?
That's a really good question, and it all comes down to how the markets think, how they work.
Yeah, like the psychology of it all.
Yeah. So less uncertainty definitely makes things better for investing, but it's not like a guarantee.
Right.
It's like, imagine planting a seed.
Okay.
You need sunlight, water, good soil.
Yeah.
Just having sunlight isn't enough.
So there's other factors.
Totally.
What else comes into play?
Well, you've got the global economy, government policies, and then there's always those unexpected things.
Black swan events, right.
Exactly. Like
nobody saw a pandemic coming. Exactly. Nobody could have predicted what COVID would do.
Yeah.
And even without, huge events like that, economic downturns, they can happen out of nowhere.
Even when things seem good.
Exactly.
So BlackRock's not like seeing the future.
Right. They're making educated guesses.
Just like the rest of us.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of resources, analysts, all that.
Right.
They're betting on growth because they think, pent-up demand, businesses will invest, expand.
Doesn't sense drive the market up.
But let's talk momentum stocks for a sec.
Okay.
They're exciting, but riskier.
True.
Is BlackRock saying we should all dump our safe stuff and
go all in?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, no. I mean, they're managing trillions, right?
Right.
Their approach is different. What they're doing is pointing out a trend, like noticing that people are buying more electric cars.
Right.
Doesn't mean everyone should ditch their gas guzzlers right away.
Gotcha. So it's more about seeing how things are changing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not giving specific advice.
But it's still useful,
It is. It is. It's like
seeing what the pros are doing.
Yeah. If BlackRock sees potential in these areas, you got to pay attention.
I see that.
It's not about copying them exactly, but using their insights.
That's part of your own.
Exactly.
This is why I like these deep dives.
Yeah.
It's like we're learning
The best.
to think like the big players.
It makes you think about your own approach, right?
Yeah.
You have momentum stocks,
Yeah.
bonds. How does this change things for you?
I haven't really thought about it much. I tend to stick with more established companies, the ones that have,
Been around the block.
maybe I need to branch out a bit.
That's the power of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Pushes you to try new things.
And speaking of new things, let's bring back the Bitcoin ETF.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like it's a sign that crypto is becoming more mainstream.
It definitely is. It's not just like a fringe thing anymore.
Right.
We're seeing big investors, hedge funds, even pension funds getting into crypto.
That's wild.
It is fascinating.
But Bitcoin's still so volatile.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like way more than...
Traditional assets.
Yeah, so is it smart for these big institutions to be...
Pouring money into it.
Yeah.
There's definitely risk, for sure.
It seems risky even for them.
But it's also about, diversification, hedging against inflation.
Okay.
It's like adding spices to a dish. You don't want just one flavor.
Variety.
Exactly.
So they're not saying Bitcoin's going to replace the dollar.
No, not
It's more like an addition.
Yeah, potential safeguard.
But that doesn't mean we should all rush out and buy Bitcoin.
No, definitely not. It's still new, complex,
Risky.
very risky.
But it's an interesting case study.
It is.
Like, who would have thought a digital currency could shake things up like this?
Right. It shows how much things are changing.
Yeah. So before we get carried away with Bitcoin and all that, let's bring it back to BlackRock's message.
Okay.
What's the main takeaway here, for our listeners?
I think it's that BlackRock sees this window of opportunity after the election.
Right.
Less uncertainty. They're betting on growth.
They see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But, as we said, it's not a guarantee.
No, not at all.
Recessions happen, those black swan events.
And that's why it's so important for investors, no matter how much money they have, to focus on the long term, diversification, keep learning about the market. It's always changing.
Right. But there's one big thing we haven't talked about.
Oh, what's that?
The politics of all of this.
Ah, yes.
The YouTube video we're looking at.
Yeah.
It focused a lot on Trump winning.
Yeah.
Is there a bias here? Are they, favoring one side or the other?
It's a good question. It's easy to see it that way.
Right.
But BlackRock is a business, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Their goal is to make money.
Profits over politics.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter who's in charge.
Right.
They're going to follow the money.
That's it. It's like the financial world has its own rules.
It does. It does.
Even if other things influence it.
Hmm.
And that raises a good point for our listeners, you know.
Oh, yeah.
If BlackRock's doing this for financial reasons, what does that say about politics and economics? It's a complicated relationship.
Very complicated.
Like a whole other discussion.
Maybe for another time.
But for now, let's wrap up this episode.
Okay.
We've covered a lot, from BlackRock's strategy
Yeah.
to what it means for individual investors.
We've seen some interesting trends, insights into how the big guys think.
Hopefully our listeners feel like they can use this
Yeah.
to make their own decisions. And we've all learned, right?
Yeah.
To stay informed, be adaptable, and
Question everything.
question everything. The financial world is constantly changing, so we have to keep learning.
Very well said.
And even BlackRock, you know, with all their expertise,
Yeah.
they can't predict everything.
That's for sure.
So to everyone listening, the best advice we can give is, what would it be?
Do your research, manage your risk, and never stop learning.
I like that.
Great advice to live by. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic and new sources to explore.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, happy investing. So we've been talking about BlackRock and their whole post-election strategy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like
What do you think?
we're trying to see the future through their eyes.
Oh, I see. Like we're trying to figure out what they think is going to happen.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's like getting a sneak peek into their playbook.
Exactly.
And they seem pretty confident about growth, you know?
They do,
Well,
but
as we said.
even they can't predict everything, right?
No, not at all. I mean, there are so many things that can affect the market.
Right, like what are some of the things that even BlackRock might miss?
Oh, man. So many things. You've got global events, political stuff,
Uh-huh.
changes in technology, consumer behavior, even the weather can have an impact.
Wow, so it's really a complex system.
It is. It's like all these different pieces moving at once
Right.
and trying to predict where it's all going. That's a tough job, even for the experts.
So then how are we supposed to make sense of it all? It feels kind of overwhelming.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in information.
Yeah, totally.
But that's like the whole point of these deep dives, right? We take all this complex stuff
Yeah.
and try to break it down, make it easier to understand.
Right, so our listeners can make,
Smarter decisions, yeah.
yeah, it's not about giving financial advice or,
Like picking stocks.
right,
It's
that
about giving you the tools.
can navigate this crazy world.
Exactly. So you can make the best choices for yourself.
I like that. It's like we're giving you a map, but
You choose the destination.
exactly,
Yeah.
you're in control
So going back to BlackRock.
Yeah.
They're betting on growth.
in this post-election market, right?
Right. But, like we said, no guarantees.
Never a sure thing. So what can we learn from them? Like, what can we take away from this whole thing?
Well, I think one big thing is understanding market sentiment. Like, how are investors feeling?
Oh, okay.
That plays a huge role in what happens in the market.
So it's almost like psychology.
Yeah, totally. Fear can hold things back, but optimism can push them forward.
And BlackRock saw that shift after the election.
Exactly. Less uncertainty, more confidence, and they went for it.
Another thing I've learned is that we got to be adaptable.
Oh, for sure.
Like, things change so fast.
All the time, yeah.
New technologies, political stuff, it's crazy.
You got to be ready to adjust your strategy.
Totally. So if BlackRock's betting on growth,
Yeah.
should we all be doing the same? Like piling into those momentum stocks?
That's a great question, but it really depends, you know,
On what?
your own situation. What works for BlackRock might not work for everyone.
Right, right.
Different goals, different levels of risk.
So we can't just blindly follow them.
No, you got to figure out what's right for you.
Okay, that makes sense. So investing is really a personal thing.
It is. It's about taking control of your own future.
I like that. And it sounds like it takes some work.
Oh, for sure. But it's worth it, right?
Yeah, totally worth it to be in charge of your own money,
Yeah,
your own future.
exactly. And that's what we've been talking about today.
BlackRock, the election, the whole shebang.
And hopefully our listeners have gotten some valuable insights from this
That's the goal.
to help them on their own financial journey.
Exactly.
So before we sign off, any final words of wisdom?
Let me think. I guess I'd say don't be afraid to ask questions, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Challenge the assumptions, get different perspectives, keep learning,
I like that. Be curious, be informed.
and be empowered.
Yes. And if you're ever feeling lost, remember there are resources out there.
Tons of resources, books, articles, podcasts, financial advisors.
Don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive into BlackRock's world.
It has been fascinating. We've analyzed their moves, learned from their strategy.
Hopefully it's given our listeners some food for thought.
I think so. And as always, we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas.
Yes.
What else might shape the future? What new technologies are coming? The learning never stops.
Very true. And join us next time for another deep dive.
Into a whole new world of information.
Until then, happy investing, everyone.
Happy investing.